Greetings. So you like to write. But sometimes life gets in the way, doesn't it? Sometimes people say you should write every single day. I have found that a difficult thing to do in my own life. Don't let that get you discouraged if you have not been able to find time to write every day. But what I'd like to do is help you as you do write. Every Friday, I will be posting a video that will have different suggestions and ideas and thoughts and websites and an opportunity to write. There is no cost for the first 2 videos. I'm a big believer in try before you buy. There are a lot of products out there on the market, a lot of things to help. But what help do you need? Perhaps this type of video that will hold you accountable for each Friday is just the thing that you need. You can save it and open it over the weekend if you want, or open it right away. The cost for the 3rd video and ongoing videos will simply be $10 a week. There is no obligation to purchase any number of weeks. I will also be setting up a blog in which you can discuss your writing, perhaps share your writing with others who are also watching this video. Today I will give you 1 writing prompt for memoir and 1 for fiction. I do have a reading though, and that applies to both genres. What I'm going to do is to read to you from this book, You Can Write a Memoir by Susan Carol Hauser. The hardest part about writing for most of us is not coming up with ideas about what we want to write, or in the case of memoir, remembering the past. The hardest part is starting to write. The blank page is a frightening landscape. It has no signposts, no horizon. It does not tell us where we were, where we are, or where we are going. All of that must come from our hearts and must pass through our minds onto the page. Every time I sit down to a new writing project with a new blank file open on my computer screen, I say, sometimes out loud, whatever made me think I wanted to do this? I think the leap of faith recommended by the philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, belief in God without proof of God's existence, applies well to writing. Once you have had an urge to write, try to let the urge itself carry you through those first writing sessions where you are wandering in the wilderness of your memory, looking for a rock to sit on, from which you can observe and then write about your past. Your landscape, of course, might be riddled with rocks to sit on, and then you get to make a second leap of faith. You get to place your trust in an image. If you are sitting down to write, and you have in front of you a list of 5 or 6 childhood objects or moments, almost certainly one of them will call you back to it over and over. It won't seem like much of an image. Maybe it is only your dad's hammer or your mother's iron. Maybe it is the doll's dress Aunt Maud made for you. Because thought, creativity, and emotion are mysterious to us, and because they occur in our minds and hearts at depths we do not have easy access to, you might not know immediately what possibilities the images hold. But some part of you knows and tells you that by calling you back to the image again and again, there is something that needs to be written. And so your first writing prompt is to sit for about 90 seconds and write down 5 events of your childhood or 5 images that come to you. Perhaps a medal that you earned, a trophy, something that happened when you were in a certain grade, anything. Just write down the first 5 things that come to you. When you have done that, come back to the video. Do you have a timer? Perhaps you have a timer on your watch or on your phone or your kitchen timer. Get that timer now and set it for 10 or 15 minutes. That's not a very long time. And choose one thing off of your list and write. Don't edit at this point. Don't let that voice in your head tell you, oh, don't write that sentence. Trust the pen. Move forward. Don't lift the pen from the paper. Just write, whether you think it makes sense or not. That's what makes good writing, if you can quiet down that editor at the beginning. I'm presuming you shut off the video while you were writing. If not, shut it down now, put it on pause, and go ahead and write your 10 minutes, and then come back. If you have written, which I had presumed that you would. If none of the images flashes at you above the others, write a few sentences or paragraphs about each one. Describe in exquisite, even torturous detail what you see. Auntie's teacup has a crack on the side away from the handle. An ivy vine twines all the way around the bowl of the cup and is repeated on the saucer. Then try using the images to describe something about the people who use the objects. An ivy vine twines all the way around the bowl of the cup and is repeated on the saucer. The way the color of my mother's eyes is repeated in her sister's eyes. The story is in the details. And not just any details, but in the details that occur to you. You will learn through practice to recognize details that are ripe with possibility, and you can become skilled at letting the details tell your story for you. And here is a quote. The school bus, orange and monstrous, came toward me the way life does when you are small. And when it stopped for me, I gave up my mother's hand and climbed aboard, sat on the edge of my seat, and let myself be carried away. Before I give you a fiction prompt, I'd like to talk to you about this article called Crossing Over. If you've ever taken a workshop from me, I'm sure that you have received this handout at some time or other. It was published in September 2004 in the Writer's Digest. And it talks about fiction writers, non-fiction writers, and poets crossing over into other genres in which they do not normally write. This article addresses the advantages of crossing over into other genres. It asks the question, what do fiction writers know? What do non-fiction writers know? What do poets know? Fiction writers know how to write in scenes. That can come in handy when you are writing nonfiction. Sometimes when you write nonfiction, it can be a little dry. When you study fiction and learn how to write in scenes, it's advantageous to your writing. What do nonfiction writers know? They know how to do research. They know how to get the facts. When you can put facts into your fiction, well then your fiction has greater believability. What about poets? Poets have a way of expressing language that is very succinct, very to the point, very much into metaphor. If you can understand how poets write and bring it into fiction or nonfiction, once again, your writing is beefed up. Now for your fiction prompt. Take one of the things that you wrote on that list of 5 things that happened in your childhood, but write it from a fictional standpoint. Either introduce a character who was not there, or take yourself out of it, write it in the third person, introducing all kinds of details that never did happen. Perhaps you wrote about skipping school. Perhaps you wrote about a surgery that you had. Perhaps you wrote about a Christmas in which you received something you really liked. Fictionalize that. Put a different mother in the scene. Put a different father. Put the character older. Give the character a different name from yourself. Stop the video and write for 10 to 15 minutes, and then click back on. I hope that you enjoyed this video presentation of Writing Workshop, and I hope that you started something that maybe you'll want to work on for the rest of the week. If not, don't worry. There are always things that writers discard. How could you save everything? But I hope that in this case that you found something that was meaningful to you. Come back next Friday, and I'll have another video for you.